Ciao ragazzi, and welcome to this online lesson explanation. Now, this is the work that you should be doing in week 1 that is due this Friday. By now, you would have finished La Vita in Famiglia, page 1 on OneNote. Okay, so this page here. And also under grammar, irregular verbs, you will have completed group 1 of irregular verbs. All right. Now, the work for this week is listed on sector. It says that the work that you need to do is page 2 and 3 of La Vita in Famiglia, which is due this Friday. It also says you need to work on the grammar irregular verbs group 2. And then it also says please be working on family vocabulary and irregular verbs group 2 sets on education perfect. So you can do these whenever you wish, sort of in between the tasks that you're doing on the OneNote, but just make sure that you're keeping up with Education Perfect sets as well as doing this work. All right, so I'll explain to you what you need to work on in pages 2 and 3 of La Vita in Famiglia. All right, so in page 2, we have activity 1. It says just to make sure you practice the family vocabulary set on Education Perfect. Attività 2, activity 2, quanti anni hanno, how old are they? So watch this video up until 30 seconds and listen to the names and ages of each of the children. Okay, so I'll just give you an example. So we'll watch it together for a second here. All right, so as I said, this activity asks you to name list the names and ages of each of the children. Okay, so the children only. Obviously, the little girl says her name and her age at the beginning, and then the mum talks about the age of the little baby who can't talk for himself. So let's just start from the beginning again. I want you to really note the name of the little girl and her age. All right, so she says that her name is Louisa and that she is 6 years old. Now, what you need to then do is have a look at this example of how you set out your answer. All right, so as we know, a way to say his or her name is si chiama. All right, then we put her name in, so Louisa, and she says ho 6 anni. All right, so I have 6 years, but we need to use the lui lei form of the verb avere, to have, to talk about her. So we're going to say ha 6 anni. Okay, so you can see above there's the example here as well. I've written an example in. So si chiama Luisa e ha 6 anni. All right, so then you need to listen out for the name and the ages of the other 2 children and use the exact same pattern to write their name and age. Now, in attività 3, it's just like a bit of a revision on the verb avere, to have, and saying that we use it to express age. So instead of saying that someone is 12 years old, they say they have 12 years. All right. They also use the verb avere to express physical features, just like in English. So, for example, my mother has blue eyes. All right. So we have here the conjugation of the verb avere, to have. All right. Oh, I have, you have, he, she, or it has. Abbiamo, we have. Avete, you plural have. And hanno, they have. If you scroll down, we have the next part of this activity, which is for you to write a sentence for each of the people in your family using the table below. I'll just remind you that we always take one element from each column in order to build a sentence in Italian. Now, obviously, sometimes you have more than one option. Sometimes you only have the one option. So you need to follow the table and choose accordingly from each of the columns. So if we have a look at my example here, we have mia madre si chiama Caterina e ha I capelli scuri e gli occhi verdi ed è bassa e simpatica. So let's use the table to translate that sentence so that you understand how to use the table to build your own sentence. So we have mia madre. All right, so we look here in this section, it says mia madre means my mum. Si chiama, which is his or her name is, which I forgot to put in there, but we know that from the activity above. All right, si chiama, her name is, and then Caterina, the name of the family member. Then we have connective, and a, verb, she or he has. I capelli, have a look here, the noun here, I capelli means the hair. Scuri, scuri means dark. And gli occhi, all right, the eyes. Verdi, okay, green. Ed all right, and is. Bassa, which is here, short. E simpatica, which is here, nice. All right. Now just remember and take notice of the fact that the adjectives I've used right at the end, okay, the aggettivi, because I'm talking about my mum, I've chosen to end those adjectives in an A to suit her gender. Okay, so you'll see in these adjectives you have the option to end it in an O or an A. Make sure that you choose depending on the gender of the person you're describing. Also, just remember that if the adjective ends in an E, like giovane or intelligente, you just leave it as the E. All right, so down below, it's asking you to list your sentences here. Remember, you need to write one sentence for each one of your family members. Okay, so if you have more than one sister or more than one brother, please write a sentence for each one. You can distinguish between them by choosing to say my big brother or my little brother or my big sister or my little sister. Okay. All right, that is page 2. Now we'll move on to page 3. Okay, so in page 3, we've got faccende domestiche, which means household chores. And in attività 1, I want you to highlight the word that relates the most to you with each one of the chores. So, for example, if you never cook, under cucinare, to cook, you would highlight mai for never. All right, so go down, read the chores, and then highlight whichever adjective describes sort of, the way that you feel like you engage with these chores. So lavare I piatti, wash the dishes. If you do them sometimes, you might highlight qualche volta. So you drag your mouse over it and you can just click this little highlight button here and you can see that that highlights it. All right. So that's attività 1. The next activity, we've got La Vita in Famiglia. So Stephanie is an Australian exchange student in Italy. Read this letter she has written home describing her life in Italy and then answer the questions below. You'll need to use the word bank underneath the letter to help you understand what's being said in it, because it is fully in Italian. But if you use this word bank here, so for the words that I feel like you have trouble understanding, I've given you translations down the bottom here. And hopefully that helps you out. Okay, so read this email or this letter, use this word bank to help you translate, and then you need to answer these questions in English. So question 1, how is the Italian family different to Stephanie's family in Australia? Question 2, how does Stephanie describe the Italian family? And question 3, what similarities and differences are there between your family and the Italian family? So I would say read through those questions first, know what you're looking for, and then read through the letter and use those words to help you understand what is being said. Now, for this week, that is all you need to do on the section of La Vita in Famiglia. You then need to go over to the grammar section into irregular verbs, all right? And today or this week, you're focusing on group 2 of irregular verbs. So the verbs that we have here to look at are potere, which is to be able to, volere, to want, dovere, to must or to have to, bere, to drink, dire, to say, stare, to stay, and that is it. Okay, so just like in the previous exercise, you will need to find the verb conjugation. All right, so the verb conjugation, remember, it's telling us who is doing the action of the verb, and then write the English translation. All right, using the subject pronouns to guide your conjugation and also your translation. So we know, for example, that io means I, the verb conjugation of essere, to be, in the io form is sono. So that means I am. Okay, tu means you. The verb conjugation in that form is sei. So it means you are. Lui, lei is he or she. The verb conjugation in this form is è, and that means he or she is. Okay, so you're using your subject pronouns as well as the translation, so what you know the verb means in English, to help guide your English translation. Okay, in terms of the verb conjugation, again, you do need to use the 2 PowerPoints that have been provided to you. Now, some of the verbs in group 2 are listed in verbi regolari, and the first 3 are actually listed in verbi modali. So you need to download this PowerPoint to find the conjugation, or download both PowerPoints to find the conjugations of group 2 verbs. All right. So, potere, to be able to, volere, to want, and dovere, to must, are actually in the verbi modali PowerPoint. That's because they're modal verbs. So basically what that means is they are followed by an infinitive. All right. Remember, verbs in the infinitive are this form of the verb. So it's sort of like the title of the verb, and it literally means to something. So volere is to want to. All right. Now, have a look here to find the conjugations of the verb. All right, just like you did in the group 1. So we know that io is voglio, tu is vuoi, lui, lei is vuole, noi vogliamo, voi volete, loro vogliono. And I've just explained that the reason we call them modal verbs and we say that they are always generally followed by an infinitive is because, just like in English, you might say, I want to sleep. All right. So in Italian, that would be voglio. Okay. I want. Voglio dormire, to sleep. All right. So dormire is the infinitive of the verb to sleep. All right. So that's all that means. So find the verb conjugations here, and also in the other PowerPoint presentation, verbi irregolari, you had group 1, which you've already filled in, and just note that group 2 starts with bere, and then we have stare, and dare, and dire. All right, so you'll need to fill all of those tables in. Just as an example, just to jog your memory of how we do this. So we have the PowerPoint open as well as our OneNote. All right, I've already started with potere. Let's go to volere, to want. All right, so I can see that io is voglio, tu vuoi, lui, lei vuole, noi vogliamo, voi volete, loro vogliono. All right, so we'll put those in. So io voglio, tu vuoi, lui, lei vuole, noi vogliamo, voi volete, loro vogliono. All right. Now, knowing that the verb means to want, obviously then my English translation for io will be I want. For tu, it will be you want. For lui, lei, it will be he or she wants. For noi, it would be we want. For voi, it would be you, plural, wants, and loro is they want. Okay? Once you have done the filled in the table, remember you then have these 3 sentences to fill in the correct form of the verb. Okay, so it tells you in brackets what the form of the verb that this sentence needs is. So we have in this sentence, do you want to come to? We need to use the tu form of the verb, so we'll put in vuoi. Okay, vuoi venire anche tu means do you want to come too? All right, next sentence we need to put in the noi form of the verb. So have a look, noi vogliamo. So it's vogliamo mangiare, do we want to eat? And then number 3, we need to put in the loro form of the verb, which is vogliono. And the sentence then altogether is gli studenti vogliono avere più tempo a fare ripasso, which means the students want to have more time to revise. Okay, so just note that after this volere, right, form of the verb, there's always an infinitive, okay? Vuoi venire, vogliamo mangiare, vogliono avere. Okay, so just